This is Caio Borralho, son of God.
Died him. About 10 minutes.
Athlete from the best team in the world. Fighting nerds.
Moving in slow motion.
Oh, I'd love to see this fight stop right
Yeah,
now.
it's over.
Yeah,
Good
there
call.
it is.
Speed. Barrahlo.
Yeah, it's over.
Oh, my goodness. That now will do it. Welcome to the...
Giles is good. Oh!
Gosh, there's the left.
What happens when a math tutor, a copywriter, and a bunch of anime-loving introverts walk into a cage? You get the Fighting Nerds, the most unexpectedly dangerous fight team on the planet. These aren't your typical UFC killers. No, they read game theory, they teach English. One of them even lights a cigarette before his fights. Not to mention the pop culture nerd glasses. And yet, they're dominating the UFC. In 2024, they went 11-0 across all competitions, winning Gym of the Year, stacking performance bonuses, doing it all while proudly repping the label that got them bullied growing up, NERBs. But this isn't a joke team. This is a revolution built by Caio Borralho and Pablo Suspira from scratch in São Paulo. No money, no hype, just brain, grind, and the philosophy that changed the game.
When you're talking about the concept, it's like being smart and being brave. If you are smart and you are brave, you are a fighting nerd.
Today, the team includes knockout artists, submission savants, with one man literally named Lord. Together, they've created a fight culture that says smart doesn't mean soft, kind doesn't mean weak, and nerdy gets violent. But these nerds didn't just pop out of a comic shop, fully formed and ready to scrap. This isn't some superhero origin story, though it sure feels like one. Nope, the Fighting Nerds started in 2014 in a tiny, scrappy little spot in São Paulo called Combat Club. And trust me, it was humble beginnings at their humblest. Picture two guys, Caio Borralho, a math chemistry tutor who just loved solving problems, and Pablo Suspira, an ex-copywriter turned fight strategist who was told his ideas were too wild for advertising. So naturally, they turned to cage fighting, obviously the safer career choice. Caio initially approached Pablo to sharpen his striking, but instead found someone who shared his passion for analytics, as well as deep problem solving. But rather than try to become another alpha gym with meathead marketing, they leaned into exactly what made them stand out: their brains. They built the gym with their bare hands, painting the walls, installing the mats themselves. Because apparently, they didn't want to just outthink their opponents. They wanted to outwork them too. Then, after Pablo casually suggested the name The Fighting Nerds, Caio immediately knew they'd stumbled onto something special, a name that didn't just describe them, but consumed them entirely. As the gym grew, so did the talent. Wagner Moda, Damian Maia's grappling coach, joined the team, along with Flavio Alvaro, a legendary Brazilian Vale Tudo fighter. These weren't just tough fighters, they were teachers, analysts, students. They solved fights like puzzles, carefully, methodically, brilliantly. Pablo's mantra?
I think when you pick up a boy who is talented and wants to make him a champion, you have two paths. You have to make him a good fighter, and you have to make him a bigger soul.
Suddenly, fighting wasn't just about violence. It was about intelligence, about strategy over strength, problem solving over pure aggression. It was about proving to the world that brains could beat brawn, doing it with style. Their signature look, those iconic taped black glasses with no lenses, perfectly captured the Fighting Nerds' ethos, intelligence and chaos. Even cage-side personalities like Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier started sporting them. Now, when fighters and fans alike wear those glasses, it's not just a gimmick, it's a reminder. You don't need to bully your way to the top, you just need to outthink whoever's standing in your way. And these nerds, they've been outthinking, outfighting, outsmarting opponents ever since. And to kick things off, let's talk about Silva, the man they call Lord.
E depois a comemoração que eu não entendi muito bem. É você que...
Born in Foz do Iguaçu, a Brazilian city better known for border tension and discipline, Silva didn't grow up with belts and coaches. He grew up fighting in the street, fighting angry, fighting with no blueprint, until someone gave him one. Carol, his wife. She didn't just believe in him, she anchored him, taking that raw chaos, giving it a center of gravity. From there, Silva found structure and destruction. No amateur circuit, no warm-up tour. Just 15 seconds into his pro debut in 2016, he knocked the man out cold with an overhand right and made you think you were watching a Mortal Kombat tournament. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Silva went 2-2 early on, took losses, bled, adjusted. Then, he snapped in form. Between 2018 and 2023, Silva turned into a finishing machine. 7 first-round stoppages, spinning elbows, body kicks, ninja chokes. It wasn't just violence, it was art, forcing the UFC to take notice. Come 2023, UFC Contender Series, Silva faced an undefeated Argentinian, landing 87 significant strikes, breaking the man's confidence without saying a word. Dana White called him a killer and offered him a contract. From then on, Weston Wilson, the walkout was longer than the fight. Charles Jourdain, yeah, okay, he might have missed weight, got doubted, but Silva folded him with an uppercut and didn't even apologize for the bonus. Drew Dober took the fight on 2 weeks' notice, held with him so clean the doctor waved it off mid-fight. Melsik Bagdasaryan? Collapse. Classic. Then came the real test. A loudmouth grappler with a Hitler fetish and a frisbee obsession. Mitchell tried 5 takedowns, failed 4. Then, Gene locked in the ninja choke and made him tap at 3 minutes 52 seconds of the second round. Then, he barked in his face. Why? A Silva said,
I don't think he's right in the head. I mean, that's part of him, and there's something wrong over there for him to be like that.
Now he's number 11 in the world, still training under Caio and Pablo at the Fighting Nerds. He walks with calm, fights with chaos, and when he flips that switch, Lord takes over. But Gene Silva isn't the only monster hiding behind a pair of mirror glasses. Enter Mauricio One-Shot Ruffy.
That's one of the best knockouts I've ever seen. These guys, they're smart. Just trying to hang on.
You gotta move!
That's not a good
A walking anime character with a kill switch. Born in São Paulo, raised in Curipe, built like someone who reads fight stats for fun and throws spinning wheel kicks for therapy. He got the nickname Ruffy from his brother, inspired by One Piece's Monkey D. Luffy. And just like Luffy, Ruffy's got a dream, championship gold, no matter how long the grand line is. Ruffy turned pro in 2016, letting his hands do the talking. 30 seconds into his debut, knocked out. By 2023, he had already laid weights to veterans and tournament finalists alike. 7 of his first 8 wins came by first-round finish, including a TKO of UFC vet Ronis Torres. But his only loss? A knockout in 2019. Rather than spiral, he joined the Fighting Nerds. They didn't just rebuild him, they reprogrammed him. In 2023, Ruffy showed up at the Contender Series with that same violence, but way more precision. He weathered the early grappling from an undefeated Russian, then flipped the fight with ground and pound that looked like it came out of an AI simulation. Dana White gave him the contract, and the rest is highlight reel history. UFC debut, Jamie Malarkey. First round TKO, flying me to punches. The crowd went nuclear, earning Ruffy a performance bonus. Lonta, short notice, catch weight, unanimous 30-27 across the board. King Green read him like a downloaded PDF, feinted left, wheel kicked right, and sent Green to the upside down. That was knockout of the year. And if you ask Ruffy, it wasn't even his final form. His fight style was the perfect love child, data plus danger. He trains with the Fighting Nerds' own analytics department. Yeah, they have one. He studies habits, tendencies, frame-by-frame footage. Then, he walks into the cage and erases you with one shot. Hence the name. 100% takedown defense, film study, morning mobility, Muay Thai by day, murder by night. Now, at 12-1, Ruffy is looking for top 10 names. Dariush, Hooker, anyone with a ranking and a face to rearrange. And when he lands that shot, You won't see it coming, but you'll definitely feel it. Speaking of fighters you don't see coming, let's talk about Carlos Prates, the man they call the Nightmare.
Giles is gonna.
Standing back.
He doesn't walk out the heavy metal. He doesn't flex or scream. He just shows up, calm, composed, quietly prepared to fold you in half with a liver shot. Born in Taubaté, Brazil, raised by a single mother, Prates wasn't bred in a super gym. He was forged in stress, in discipline, in Muay Thai. His mom signed him up to clean up his act. Now he's one of the cleanest strikers in the welterweight division. He trained out of Thailand for years, collecting knockouts in kickboxing rings across Asia. When he came back to Brazil, the regional MMA scene couldn't hold him. He tore through LFA, SFT. When Dana White gave him a Contender Series slot in 2023, it wasn't a test, it was a formality. He dropped Mitch Ramirez.
Earlier this time. Oh, the left staggers him.
Since then, Giles, knockout. Radke, liver knee, game over. Li Jingliang slipped and ripped. Neil Magny tried to wrestle, got left hooked into another dimension. Prates fights southpaw, stands tall, and hits like he's trying to solve geometry problems with your ribcage. After a tough loss against Ian Machado Gary, Prates goes back to the drawing board, surely to come back better than ever, hopefully this time with clearer lungs. But if Carlos Prates is the blade, then this next man is the mind behind the entire weapon.
And now he's pouncing. Wow, Jared Cannonier. Looked like he went out for a second. Rounding pound.
Shots. There's the one that just cripples him, puts him down, and thank God.
Caio Borralho, the math tutor, the coach, the nerd king, the architect. Before he was dissecting fights in front of the ESPN cameras, Caio was teaching chemistry in São Luís, Brazil. Raised by a family of academics, his path seemed locked. University, corporate job, stability. He even landed a prestigious internship at Ambev. But Caio chose chaos. He left it all in 2014, not for a paycheck, but for a purpose.
I'm chasing the belt, but not just because of the belt. I think my message goes beyond that, you know? The belt is just an instrument to give you the message that you want to pass people. So definitely I want the belt, but I want to pass the message for people, you know?
His martial arts journey started at 6 with judo. After an armbar loss humbled him, he went deep into BJJ, then added Muay Thai to complete the formula. The result? A style that balances violence and calculation like a human algorithm. In 2014, he had his first amateur MMA fight. By 2016, he was building his own gym from scratch with Pablo Susapira. They painted the walls, installed the mats, created the culture, birthing the fighting nerds. Caio wasn't just a fighter. He was a teacher with fists. He went 9-1 on the regional scene, racking up finishes like someone checking off answers on a test. When Dana White invited him to the Contender Series, Caio out-grappled Aaron Jeffrey with surgical control, but Dana said it was too safe. So what did Caio do? He came back 3 weeks later, moved up a weight class, and knocked Jesse Murray out in under 90 seconds. Contract secured. Since then, Amargadziv taken down 6 times, glued to the mat for over 10 minutes. Cal made him look like he forgot wrestling existed. Petrosian dragged down, suffocated. Oleksiejczuk tried to strike.
Passa o braço, mão por mão, vai pegar, pegou!
Paul Craig, grappler versus grappler. Cal dropped him with a left hook that echoed off the mat. Cannonier, 5 rounds, full display. Cal outmaneuvered, outthought, and outpointed a top 5 name. It was a masterclass in calm dismantling. He's now 6-0 in the UFC with a top 6 middleweight ranking. Cal's impact goes beyond wins. He's the brain that built the system. He created the analytics model that the whole gym runs on. He teaches philosophy, footwork, and film study with equal obsession. And every time he walks out with those signature taped classes, he's not just fighting for himself. He's fighting for every kid who ever got laughed at for being smart. If you're still doubting him, well, you must not be very good at math. They don't posture. They don't care about looking the part because the fighting nerds weren't built for show. They were built to solve problems, and in the cage, every problem has a human face. From São Paulo to the UFC's brightest stages, this team of chess players, coders, teachers, and dreamers has proven something bigger than fight stats. That being smart isn't a disadvantage. That being different isn't weakness. It's strategy, discipline, mixed with a little revenge, can flip the fight world on its head. They choked out trash talkers, shook down veterans. They've walked through the fire not to become the cool kids, but to torch the rulebook and build their own. They're not the future of MMA. They're what happens when the future finally steps into the cage. So go ahead, laugh at the glasses, doubt the data, underestimate the guy who trains while everyone else talks. Just don't be surprised when he's the one choking you out.